Hey guys, welcome to this reading and my channel. Let's jump in and see what messages want to come out. I hope you guys are doing well. All right, let's see what wants to come through. That was quick. I have physical pain and emotional pain. Okay, so sometimes when we're dealing with a lot of emotional upheaval and disturbance in our world, we can feel it manifest physically. Okay, so this may come as, anxiety. This can come as aches and pains that we're kind of like, where is this coming from? Why am I suddenly feeling this? This can come on as, headaches or migraines. This can come on as, lack of sleep or maybe wanting to sleep all of the time. But what this is saying here is that when you're going through a really emotional time or you're not really processing through some of your emotions in a situation, it may manifest outwardly as physical pain. Okay. Let's go further into this reading and kind of see what this is leading into. I have the bardo. Okay, so when we get the bardo, it's basically being in a state of kind of like, the shadow aspects here. This is kind of a realm where things go to die, essentially, which is basically saying that, whatever emotional trauma or emotional things that you're holding onto, it now needs to be released. Okay, so you might be in a state where you're feeling like things are dark, maybe hopeless, maybe really challenging for you right now. But the purpose of this experience is so that you can then release it and move beyond it and grow from it. Okay. So, hold in tight there. I know that this energy isn't very easy, but it is happening for your highest good to clear some things out. I have limiting beliefs. This situation calls for reprogramming your belief system. Okay, so again, what's happening here is that maybe from previous experiences, which again can be some stored traumas from the past, it may be inadvertently affecting your current life, your current situations, and it may be negatively impacting your decisions that you're making in your life. And so these things need to be cleared up because it's saying that there are some things that you are, believing but aren't necessarily true or for your highest good, and they're negatively affecting you or those around you. Let's keep going into this and see what's coming out here. I have mystic healer. Healing energy flows through you. Okay. So this may even be what we refer to as a dark night of the soul. So you may be an actual healer. You may be familiar with the term, mystic. You may be familiar with, the term empath, especially if you're tuning into, tarot channels, you likely are familiar with what I'm saying. But, what happens here is in order to be a healer, we need to traverse some of the shadow aspects ourselves so that we can truly gain a higher sense of trust, faith, and compassion for, the world, the people in it, and the people that we're here to help. So you may be finding that you're experiencing some of this, dark night of the soul so that you can become more awakened, more aware, and your gifts can expand. Okay. You can become more aware and empathic to other people. And if you are a healer, or maybe you're a reader like I am, whatever it is that you do or are, or maybe you're not even aware of these things, this is, what happens in order to kind of go through a little bit of an initiation so that you can, expand your ability to connect, expand your ability to have love and compassion for others, and your ability to heal and help others. Okay. So hang in tight. I know this energy is not easy, but this, is for a higher purpose. Okay. So some of the times when we're going through that dark night of the soul and we're dipping into the depths of that shadow aspect, we begin to have a lot of thoughts come to surface. A lot of our patterns, a lot of our conditioning from all the way from childhood will begin to surface. It will begin to become very clear to us. So if we've had patterns of behavior in, say, relationships or, jobs or experiences that, we've held on to that have kind of turned out not so great for us, we may be, you may be in an energy where it's dawning on you, oh, okay, this is, what I've been doing and believing the whole time and making decisions on and how I've been acting. But this was because of something that happened in my childhood, or maybe a trauma that I experienced in a relationship with a previous person or a friendship, where a friend did me wrong. So, what's happening here is you're starting to kind of discover and shed light and purge some of those limiting beliefs and patterns that you may be experiencing or have experienced so that you can grow and learn from them and ascend and, gain a, higher understanding and a deeper, stronger intuition and healing energy about you so that you can help others. Let's go further into this reading and see what the overall energy is, okay? The overall energy, again, is like I was saying earlier. So this has to do with, again, those limiting beliefs. So when the Nine of Wands is coming out in the overall energy, this is patterns of behavior. This can be, yes, an energy of having the strength and the will to continue going. You have Nine Wands up, you're tired, you're exhausted, but you still got one to go and you've got enough oomph in you to, make it to the end, and you do. So make sure that you are not limiting yourself in a belief of not being able to make it beyond these things, even though they're extremely challenging in these moments. Okay. So they are not easy to move through, but this is what I would call a pattern recognition period where you are becoming very acutely aware of some patterns of behavior that you've struggled with and have had since childhood, and you are now recognizing them so that you can learn from them and move beyond them and remove those patterns of behavior that are negatively affecting you and holding you back so that you can then move into a more positive energy of experience, and gain new lessons, but not be held back or bound by these old patterns from the past that no longer are relevant and need to be there. Okay, let's take a look at the recent past. In the recent past, I have the Four of Swords. So you've really taken time to go, take a step back, go into your inner world and start to kind of, nurture yourself. So clearly, when you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable or grossly uncomfortable in some of this energy when you're doing shadow work, you already have an innate ability to kind of remove yourself a little bit and kind of get into your own little bubble, your own little space where you feel comfortable so that you can feel comfortable, dealing with some of these difficult shadow aspects. Okay. They can be very, very uncomfortable. So, what we tend to do is, like animals a little bit where, when you see that they're hurt or they're struggling or they may be getting ready to, pass on, unfortunately, they will tend to hide and they will tend to retreat from the world, retreat from others, and, go hide for that process to kind of move through it. Okay. So it looks like you innately are following your intuition and you are taking time out for yourself to begin to kind of take time for healing, knowing that this uncomfortability is a process that you're moving through, that you need to move through. It's kind of a necessary initiation to go through to move to the next step. But it looks like you're recognizing that and taking time to really take time out and heal and contemplate things carefully. Okay. Let's take a look at the present energy. I have death. So this doesn't surprise me that this is coming out. So with the energy that you're in right now, you are going through a very significant transformation. And this is, death and rebirth that's taking place here. So when you go into a state of retreat so that you can heal, you can recognize these patterns of behavior and move beyond them and be rid of them for good, you're going to inadvertently, well, not inadvertently, but you're just going to go through a process of actual death. And this isn't like a literal death, but it's a death of the old self. This is a death and a shedding of the old and all which no longer serves you so that you can break free from that old, skin like a snake and, transform into a new butterfly for a whole new experience and fly higher. Okay. So it looks like you're in this process right now, which is why you're feeling a bit of uncomfortability. When you're in this current energy, it's not pleasant. It can be a little bit confusing, a little bit trying, a little bit emotional, a little bit uncomfortable, and you're just desperate to kind of like get beyond that and move out of it and into the other side. So I feel you on that energy. And so that's why it's trying to say that these, physical pains that you're feeling are as a result of this, death and rebirth. Okay. So just, take note that you're doing exactly what you need to do. Just try to continue to ride those waves. Try to take time for rest and relaxation and nurturing yourself. Drink lots of water, get lots of rest, keep yourself kind of, shielded away from unnecessary traumas and stresses and, chaos that's going on in the world right now so that you can move through this process as easily as possible. Let's take a look at the near future. I have the Page of Wands. So again, you're going to kind of get this new burst of energy, having come out the other side of this extreme, transformation and, rebirth that you're going through right now. So what this will do is it will give you, a new sense of being, a new excited sense of the world You'll kind of regain your balance, regain your energy again, and regain your strength. And you'll gain a little bit of that sense of hope again. You'll have that little bit of a spark that will then kind of get you started again and feeling hopeful for life and for the future again. Here on the bottom, I have the Ten of Swords. So this journey clearly was not easy. Okay. Once we get the Ten of Swords, a lot has ended, a lot of hurts have taken place in a variety of ways, in a variety of situations. And so you're either going through a significant dark night of the soul for the first time, or this may be a time that you've gone through it many times. Sometimes we will go through multiple extreme death and rebirth processes as we, level up and ascend higher. Okay. And we learn our lessons and go further on our journey, especially more toward our destined path and how we're to step into a healer and leader type role so that we can then be ready to actually help others in a positive way. Okay. So, unfortunately, the Ten of Swords is just kind of one of those badges you just have to earn. So I feel you on that, but trust in the fact that this uncomfortability that you're moving through soon will pass, because here in the near future, I have the Page of Wands with a brand new energy coming out. Okay. Let's take a look at some advice for you. The advice is the Page of Pentacles. So again, just taking note that, this is a process, this is a learning experience. You've come a long way, you've learned from the past, and now you're going to take that information, that wisdom, and plant a new seed and start a whole new beginning. Okay. You're going to learn from the lessons of the past and use them for your benefit instead of allowing them to inadvertently hold you back and block you. Okay. Let's take a look at what's hidden, maybe something you're not seeing that may prove helpful for you to know. What's hidden? What's hidden is the Ten of Pentacles. So this is a little bit of an end of an era. What's hidden here is that you've reached a significant milestone that is, heading toward a new legacy. You may even feel a little more sound and established. You may have, with the Two of Cups here, gone through a complete transformation of relationships in your life. These may be relationships that got you to the Ten of Swords, where they may be very hurtful and you had to close out soulmate karmic cycles so that you can then, level up and go through a complete transformation. This may be that you had to leave some people behind. Maybe some people left you, maybe they were hurtful. Maybe you hurt them. All of these things may have just been a little bit toxic and needed to kind of shed away so that you could move into a higher, level of existence here. But what's saying here is that, you had a little bit of, a period of time where you were very well established and set. And so you're moving into a whole new era of life here. And that's what's hidden in this whole situation, which again, that should be pretty clear with the reading that I'm giving you. This isn't really something new, but basically it's just a whole new era that you're moving into, a whole new way of moving toward your destiny, a whole new way of moving into, a legacy that you can, leave behind. Let's take a look at what you don't see coming in the coming weeks. Oh, almost fell there. What you don't see coming in the coming weeks is the Magician. Okay, so again, you're going to get that new spark of energy once you kind of move through this process of the whole rebirth of a whole new era. Now, it doesn't mean that everyone and everything has completely fallen away from your life. Basically, what this is the shedding of patterns of behavior and conditionings that we've had, since childhood and all throughout our life. But this is also something that where it's just getting rid of the things and allowing them to fall away that have either become toxic, stagnant, or just no longer serve your highest good. Doesn't mean that everyone and everything has left your life. So this new era may also be, where you're stepping into a new realm of manifestation where you are just adding on to that experience and that relationship and that, thing that you've, managed to maintain that is in your highest interest and keep moving in that direction. So this little spark of inspiration here may be, a significant relationship in your life that may be coming to light where maybe you're going to begin to to move past those patterns of the behavior of existence from before and maybe other relationships that you've had. And you may be manifesting a higher level relationship that's significant in your life. With the Lover's card coming out, this is either very significant people, significant situations, or even a significant soulmate or twin flame that would be coming into your life, because you're now leveling up and coming into, a vibration that is, conducive to someone else's vibration or other people's vibrations, that you're going to now attract, manifest in to your reality, and move forward into new experiences. Okay, so this may come out as a significant soulmate relationship here, but either way, this magician energy is saying that you're going to move into an energy of positive manifestation, but you're going to be manifesting a new reality at a higher vibrational level than what you were at before, when you were blocked by those old patterns of behavior. So this is excellent news. Hold tight, hang in there. I know it's uncomfortable. I know it's not easy, but keep doing what you're doing. Take time to give yourself grace, nurture yourself, and things will begin to lighten up for you. And you'll start getting a new sense of, revitalized energy and a sense of hope for the future. And you'll start to kind of get that, wanting to get out in the world again and do new things and create a new life for yourself. Okay. So just hang in there. You've got this. You've come a long way. Just hold in there a little bit longer. Things are really working out in your favor. So I hope you found this reading to be helpful. And until I see you again, take care.